everybody. Of course, we can't start the show, of course, without this incredible effort that I made. That's so much fun. I hear that. I never want it to end. It's so brief. It's like a song that you don't want to end that ends, and you're like, well, I'm going to listen to that again. I would listen to that many times in a row. Welcome to the Cinema Podcast. That's Travis. That's Eric. I'm Michael. Today we're going to talk about Eric's selection. It's right behind me, the King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters. That'll be the main event for our Does It Hold Up or Not? And, of course, we'll give you our quarantine viewing selections. We wanted to thank our first patron, Travis. We have a patron on our Patreon. Woohoo! Yippee!
Yeah! Shout out to friend of the show and also someone that I have another podcast with that's on hiatus, Chad Gibbons, everybody. Thank you, Chad, for being our patron. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you're going to love the latest installment. Yeah, it's about religious upbringings. I think you'll find it interesting. So, it's now available on our Patreon. And if you want to be a patron, the Patreon link is in the show notes, and you can click on that. We need to find a better way to... I know somebody who has... So the name of their podcast is just their Patreon link. It's called inthisleague.com, and if you type in inthisleague.com, it goes right to their Patreon. So I don't know how that's possible, or if they had to buy a domain name and then reroute it, but... maybe we'll work on that down the road. Either way, we love Patreon. We love our people. We love all of you. And Travis, you love movies. How are you doing? Have you been to the theater this week or recently?
No, not since the new Downton Abbey with my mom a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
Haven't caught Top Gun. I'm okay.
You haven't seen Top Gun 2 or the new Jurassic World?
Dude, my students asked me the other day if I was going to see that, and I told them if I'm seeing that movie, it's because someone strapped me down and taped my eyes open.
Did we talk about this last week? Or you sent it to me, Eric. That's right. The all-time disparity on the Rotten Tomatoes at the time for the critics and the audience on the final Jurassic World installment.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty intense. The critics have spoken. The audience will go there. They're dinosaurs. I mean, people are going to show up. Yeah. But these reviews are not sending me to the theater anytime soon.
But no. So don't side with like fan... If the fans are loving it,
fans go just because that's like get asses in seats. If the critics are out of control, then I go there. The fans will go no matter what. It doesn't matter. Plus, I do check, and I did want to mention this before. I will check cinema scores more regularly than Rotten Tomatoes because that's like literally people right out of the theater, as opposed to like, fans that are just gonna like push content that they are fans of, regardless of whatever the fuck like Rotten Tomatoes does. Like Cinema Scores tends to just be like regular people, like, hey, you just got out of theater, what do you think? And you get more of a, in my opinion, unbiased, kind of unfiltered opinion. But yeah, no one's saying anything good about Dominion so far, and I could not care less. Like every time Chris Pratt like holds up his dumb hand to like the dinosaur, I'm like, remember when the dinosaurs were scary and like you didn't want to help them? That's yeah. Let me know when that happens again.
If the word of mouth hadn't been so terrible, maybe I would be in there, because I'm not against like a roller coaster kind of ride of a movie, but the word of mouth is terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but bad things from the
human
people
beings.
I listen to. Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't been talking to frogs.
Dogs
about
aren't
it.
impressed.
Okay, do we trust Colin Trevorrow at all? Is he not a trust? Oh, we don't. Okay,
I've never. No. I mean, what has he done that's good?
The Book of Eli was fucking god awful. Jurassic World was awful. His track record is horseshit.
Yeah, and did he get booted, or he left the Star Wars project?
Yeah, he got
Ryan
booted. They were
Johnson?
like, no. They were like, no, your script is terrible. Get out of here.
Okay, well then, yeah, fuck that guy. Okay,
wasn't it Solo he got kicked off of? Wasn't that what it was?
No, that was the Miller and Lord.
Oh, that was Lord
and
Miller. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Or Lord and Miller. Yeah. Maybe they want to be called Miller and Lord sometimes. I don't know. We can switch it up.
Talking about Lord a little later.
Ooh, that's what they call a teaser in the biz. And of course, if you want to tease us with how much you appreciate the show, you could rate it 5 stars. We're looking for a push here. He wants the show to grow, and I'm with him. I would like the show to grow as well. So we would love to get some more ratings, 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Of course, Spotify, all you got to do is you could use this finger even. You use your pinky and put it on the star, and hopefully give us 5, not 4. Because some reason, and I've explained this a million times, 4-star rating is it's like shit. I don't understand why this rating system exists the way it does. This has always baffled me because, when you get a B in class, A, B, or C, or D, a B is like, okay, it's not terrible. That's cool. But for some reason, when I was an Uber driver, 4 out of 5 stars was total trash. You would be suspended as a driver if you had a 4-star rating. You would.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah. And subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Do that too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're doing the show on Thursday because Eric and Travis were very kind. They allowed me one extra day to watch the film. One extra day. That was it. That's all I get. And I could have said I'd watched it and showed up and did it yesterday, but I don't want to do that. I really wanted to watch this movie, and we'll find out later if I was glad I did or not. Now, that's another teaser on what we call the Cinema Night Podcast. Having said that, let's get into what we call quarantine viewing picks, where people will recommend or just flat out tell us what they've been watching. And Travis, as always, you're in control of the board.
I watched a lot of newer movies this past week, but I got a couple classics under my belt too. Like I'd never seen The Town That Dreaded Sundown from 1976. It was an interesting, so early in the slasher kind of genre. It would have been kind of cool if it had been even more of a trendsetter than it was. If slashers had kind of a more thriller feel like this has more often. But it was great. I really, really liked it. Another one that was great it makes me think of Eric, how you'd never seen Die Hard before. I watched First Blood from 1982 for the first time.
I'm telling you to watch this
the first time.
We started the show.
That's why I watched it. I finally watched it. Yeah, for the first time. For the first time.
Holy shit.
I did like it. I thought the ending was anticlimactic. But I did like the rest of the movie. I thought it handles some pretty interesting and cool topics, like some cutting edge kind of topics.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Stallone was good for the most part, but I also got the parodies. I understood the parodies. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was great. I get it.
Yeah, I wanted to mention I actually saw this movie for the first time a few years back too. So I never saw it back in the day, and I was also impressed, and I was surprised about kind of what the movie represented and some of the themes it touched on, because the legacy of Rambo for me, by the time I played, I think it was Rambo 3 or whatever the Rambo NES game was in 1988. It was like this. It was the Jump the Shark Rambo that became such a parody, as you mentioned, Travis. So it's such a different film than really everything else having to do with Rambo, in my opinion. And I'm glad it exists. Brian Dennehy, David Caruso. Yeah, that's a good time.
David Caruso, a young golden or red-headed Caruso, as always. I definitely am going to watch the other ones as well. In time, but
John Rambo was that 2018?
Yeah, I'll watch that one too. Fuck it. I watched Lamb from 2021.
Yeah,
A24 and horror. Did you watch it, Eric?
Yeah, what'd you think?
It was very premise based. It probably could have been done in a half an hour. It was kind of a short film that got dragged into a full length feature. You're nodding, so you agree with me. What do you think?
Yeah. I felt kind of like it could have been condensed to about 30 minutes.
Not a ton. Some really, really. If I ever want to see beautiful shots in slow motion of sheep again, I know where to go.
Yeah,
because there's some just amazing footage of sheep throughout this movie, but it gets to feel a little bit like filler. And not a ton of, I don't know, it was worth seeing, but I'm not going to watch it again.
It's like, what is it, like the 35-minute mark where I think I remember being like, okay, if you survive the breakfast table scene, you're either in or you're going to turn this off and be like, what the fuck is happening in my life right now?
This is like The Lobster, but it makes less sense. I also watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Ooh,
thoroughly enjoyable. It is one of those movies. Eric, you complain about this a lot, where it's just, I don't understand this is Sonic the Hedgehog. You don't need to go over 2 hours in runtime. The movie ends, and I'm like, well, that was pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry, there's 25 more minutes to go here. No, 40 minutes. Wow, there's a lot of movie left here, and it just kind of keeps going. I'm like, why would I'm glad I'm not a parent dragging my kid to this on a Saturday afternoon, because the kid would get restless. I liked it, but it was just a little heavy-handed. The Valet, a film that came out on Hulu. It's a remake of a French movie I'd never seen, but it stars Eugenio Derbez, who I really liked in Coda as the music teacher. So I thought, why not? It's him.
That guy.
Yeah, it's him and Samara Weaving, and kind of like a comedy of errors. Hey, Tim's Talk. Thanks for joining us.
Some people call me Tim.
It wasn't like you kind of think it's going to be this romantic comedy, but since it's adapted from a French film, it really takes you for some different loops. If you liked that actor, I really enjoyed him in this. It was a different. It wasn't a like didn't knock it out of the park, but it was definitely worth catching. I enjoyed it. The Apollo 11 from 2019. I've been meaning to watch this documentary for a long time. I'm watching it with two of my groups of students right now. I'm watching it with like my seniors and my freshmen, and the seniors are like wrapped in the class that I have with them. They're like loving, watching this gorgeous footage of the moon of the Apollo 11 launch. And then the 13.
You guys have 4K TVs at school?
No, but it's still really, really great. Remastering. They did a fantastic job. And then like the 13-year-olds are just like literally bored to tears, like falling asleep. Like, what is this? I'm watching people at work. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well.
Damn.
The Card Counter from 2021. Brian Madison said this is one of his favorite movies of last year. What'd you think? Eric,
I have yet to see it. I saw that it hit HBO Max. So
I skipped over it a few times. I guess maybe I'll click it once.
I fucking loved it. I mean, I loved it. Man. Now there was a lot of, like I went to IMDb and it's just like the reviews are like 1, 3, 1. Like people fucking hate it. They're like, what did I just watch? It's like watching paint dry. I'm bored. So it's not necessarily for everyone, but I found it to be, it's been a while since we talked First Reformed and Paul Schrader. I found it to be a really fitting companion piece to First Reformed, and that First Reformed explores like the world, especially America's approach to climate change or inaction, really, and our guilt about that. Whereas this is dealing with America's foreign policy in Iraq for the most part. Like you think it's going to be about poker, but it takes you this different ride, and it is a really awesome exploration of a character, like this really great character study. And it was slow, but I loved it. I thought it was really powerful. Cool. I really, really liked it. And I also, last but not least, I think that I would highly recommend if you're into like artsy kind of films. But I think a film that anybody would like, and it's really killing it on Netflix right now, is Hustle, the new Adam Sandler movie. Is really, really good. It's really good. Now it's chock-a-block full with cameo appearances from people who are meaningless to me. I had no idea who any of these people were.
Do you know who LeBron James is? Do you know who that is?
Apparently he's like a king of some country. I don't know. The king of basketball land. I don't know.
Fucking hilarious.
He's not in it, for the record. But the guy that plays Kermit, I think his name's Anthony Edwards, but not the guy from ER.
Not that.
Yeah, that I thought he did a really good job in the movie, and I fucking hated him. I hated him so much because one of the things I hate about like sports is trash talk, and he does like a ton of trash talk.
Yeah.
I just fucking hate trash talk so much. And that's one of the reasons. I mean, I just don't get into sports at all. But I really did like this quite a bit, and there wasn't anything revelatory about it. It was kind of some tried and true formula going on here, but it just really it's some feel good stuff. Sandler is really good for the role. The guy, I forget his name, but the guy that plays the main basketball player did great. And then a lot of it was shot in my old neighborhood of Manayunk, Philadelphia, and it was really cool to see like so much of my old town there, and especially because like there's like this grueling, repetitive like hill that they're making that Sandler, that no real spoiler here, is making Sandler's making him like jog up this hill over and over again, and it's
Rocky part thrower.
Yeah, and over and over again, and the guy just like he's like in top shape, but he can't fucking do it. He can't run up it. I'm like, yes, that is the hill that I walked up every single fucking day when I got off work for 6 years, 7 years. I think
that thing's hell.
Yeah, you walked it, and it's so it was really funny to see that. But that aside, it was truly a really enjoyable movie, and I liked Hustle quite a bit.
It makes you like just not want to go downtown because why would I want to walk back up? I mean, the staircase is brutal. It's just, but it's a beautiful town. You're right. I didn't know that it was shot in Manioc. I knew that it was a Philadelphia-based film, so that's fun.
There's other places do Passyunk and stuff. I mean, he takes him to Pat's at one point. I'm like, you wouldn't fucking take him to Pat's. Who are you kidding?
Oh God, why? Why do they have to continue to push this bullshit agenda with Pat's and those places? Fuck that. Everybody. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. But
they're right by D'Alessandro's. I mean, I don't know.
I gotta tell you, I don't like trash talk either. I've never been into it, and I love sports, but trash talking is never like the fun part for me. But it's certainly a part of the culture, especially with basketball. Trash talk is huge. So I'm going to watch that movie for sure. I want to watch Hustle. I'm excited about it, and I'm glad to hear that it's solid. I heard it was just going to be your kind of typical sports movie, but yet it was done well enough where it's enjoyable. So that's basically what you said is what I figured. So,
yeah, it's pretty typical, but it's just well done.
Well, that's good times. Eric, let's turn it over to you. You did give us a little teaser about Lord.
I had the wrong. It was Miller, but I had the wrong Miller, as it turns out.
Tim Miller?
No, I'll get into that a little later. I did want to open up by talking about the fact that I watched Tall Tale, The Incredible Adventure of Pecos Bill from 1995.
Pecos? Like bacon?
Pecos.
Yeah, Pecos Bill, starring
Oh,
Patrick Swayze as Pecos Bill. Like he wrangles that tornado, remember?
Vaguely.
Mid-90s, like they're trying.
Yeah, I remember the previews.
Yeah, like it's so weird. Like when like DC properties are dormant and like Marvel's not here yet. Like, what are they gonna like excite kids about in like the mid-90s? Like, how about John Henry and Pecos Bill? Like, it's so dull. It's like I can't imagine a kid like caring about any of these characters. Like Paul Bunyan, like you're gonna make him exciting? No, it's just so dull. Shot beautifully by Janusz Kaminski, but like so dull. It's like, why is this a movie? Yeah, I didn't care for Pecos Bill. Little Monsters. It's been a hell of a long time.
The original, we're talking the Howie Mandel version. Yes,
Oh Jesus, Howie Mandel. I don't know when the last time you saw this is. It's so cringeworthy. I had to turn away from the screen several times. Anytime Howie Mandel appeared, I was like biting my hand. Like it's like, what is this? It's so cringe. Like the entire film looks like it was shot in like someone's garage. It's like so piss poor production values. Not good. Like not good. When all was said and done, it's just not good.
yeah. Whaley? Come on.
Yeah, Frank. Actually, I did like that part. The boy, Frank Whaley, like his weird face. That was cool. Everything else, cringeworthy, terrible. Looks like it was shot in somebody's fucking basement. Thrashing, 1986, dude. I teased this on Instagram. I used to watch Thrashing, starring Josh Brolin and Robert Russler, like every day in the 80s, like in early 90s, but I haven't seen it in like 30 years. Like this, the skateboarding movie came out when everyone else was watching Rad with Bart Taylor and Crew Jones. I was watching Thrashing, starring Josh Brolin, and loving it. It's still really stupid, like really dumb. Like it's like the same plot as like Karate Kid. Like guy like moves to LA from like the Midwest and like gets bullied. He's got to deal with it. But fun if you're into skateboarding. No Way Out. Kevin Costner, Gene Hackman, not good. Not good, man.
What? It's not
good. Like Sean Young, like they were pushing Sean Young so hard. Like Sean Young, like he's this big star, right? Like what is this? Like just
this
a nothing
is a big deal
actress.
back in the day.
Why?
I don't know.
It's that bad?
I watched a Gene Hackman movie that wasn't even worth mentioning. I watched a movie called Company Business with Mikhail Baryshnikov, and it was like, I guess they can't all be winners,
dude. Like there was Gene Hackman. God love him. Side Adventure, one of the best performances of all time. But like, it's so many where he's just like the powerful guy. He's like, he's there. Like, who cares? Yeah. No Way Out, terrible.
It's a Richard Donaldson movie. I mean,
it's off. I'm telling you, it's so bad. Even Costner couldn't help. Looks great in his naval outfit. Looks so gorgeous. But the movie is awful. Okay, terribly directed by Roger Donaldson.
Oh, come on. He did Cocktail. He did The Bounty. Come on. This guy knows what he's doing.
But this was a huge misfire. I got to tell you, big surprise of the week for me was Chris Miller. Now, there's a big difference here. Christopher Miller is of Lord and Miller fame, but Chris Miller did like the... I'm back. I hate all the Shrek movies. Like I they're not funny to me. But I push play on Puss in Boots, like the cat, like starring Antonio Banderas. Loved it, loved it. Can't wait for the sequel. Like so smartly written, beautiful animation, great voice cast. Zach Galifianakis, Salma Hayek, Antonio Banderas is laugh out loud hilarious as a character. I've been this surprised from an animated film since maybe Moana. It's been a hell of a long time. Loved Puss in Boots.
I remember I was with my ex-girlfriend's kids and like we were like all on vacation and like someone put that on just to like kill time, like let's just distract the kids, like so we can do the adult stuff. And I'm like, yeah, adult stuff. And I'm like keep going back.
Yeah, keep it down, kids. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch this. Right. It's funny. Yeah, that's it, man.
Oh, that's it. Oh, wow. Well, that's sad. I feel like smartly written would be a stretch because the Shrek movies are just filled
jokes.
with farts.
That's just like farts and like Matrix like jokes and shit. This is straight up funny. Great writing.
Oh, okay then. Well, that's good news. So I watched a couple of Velveeta shells and cheese commercials.
Okay,
and,
how were they?
Liquid gold.
One of them was the Four Tops. They basically sell out for a Velveeta shells and cheese commercial in 1991. It's very sad. So that kind of bummed me out. But I hope they made a good amount of money from that. But as far as films,
delicious.
There's a few films that I don't want to mention because I might bring them up, which sucks. So, and I keep finding myself doing that lately.
You do.
So
I do that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I did watch Back to School. I'm probably not going to bring that one in.
Love it.
And I love Back to School.
You're a melon.
That's right. It's my buddy from Christine, Mr. Arnie Cunningham, doing his thing. So those are the two movies I remember that guy from. Keith Gordon, I think his name is.
Yeah, Keith Gordon.
Director now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Good for him. Actually, the movie we're about to do is directed by a Gordon.
Different Gordon. Seth Gordon.
Okay.
So many Gordons. How many Gordons?
Gordon's Fish, is that Gorton or Gordon?
That's Gorton. Yeah, Gordon's fisherman with the outfit on, yellow
Gorton.
Pants.
Gorton.
Yeah. I watched Cutthroat Island. I never actually saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not as bad as this is common. Movies sometimes that are bombs. Pluto Nash, it's a pretty bad movie. Cutthroat Island, it's bad, but it's not like Hall of Fame bad in my opinion. It just maybe wasn't the right time and it was the wrong movie. And there were also a lot of problems with this film. I read about later. I became interested in that. So Gina Davis married the director. Then they got divorced a few years later. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But what the hell? Gina Davis, where did she go?
Archery. She got
I
into
saw
archery.
that. She legitimately tried to be an Olympic archer.
She was an Olympic archer. She went to the Olympics.
She did. I thought she didn't qualify. Wow. Okay,
she
cool.
did. I could be wrong. I thought that she did. Either way, I mean that's still pretty pro if you're
she
going
just
out
picked it. Yeah, the story I read about this was she just picked it up and she finished 24th, which wasn't quite enough to get on the team, but still was amazing because she just kind of picked it up. So
yeah, that's awesome.
She's a genius too. I guess she's in Mensa. So, I don't like to tell. If I was in Mensa, would I tell people?
I fucking wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't join Mensa.
Exactly.
IQ tests are bullshit.
Exactly.
So says Alfred Binet.
Wait, who's Alfred Binet?
The guy that invented the IQ test.
Oh yeah, the Binet. What's his face? There's
Stanford Binet. He's the Binet.
Stanford Binet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's all bullshit. I completely agree.
All bullshit.
But yes, I wouldn't. Don't bullshit me. So that was a movie that if you never saw Cutthroat Island, you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll go check it out for the first time. I could see why you would want to do that, and it might be a nice, fun time with the family. I don't know. Might.
Might.
I watch Cobra. I always loved Cobra.
Yeah.
New world out there, pig. I love that. I used to say that all the time.
Amazing.
Come on, pig.
Amazing.
I love that movie. It's so stupidly, perfectly 80s in every way possible.
This is a really Stallone-friendly episode.
Yeah, it really is. We're going to specifically 80s Stallone for sure.
The best Stallone.
Of course. Yeah, I can't mention that one. I can't mention that one.
It's a secret.
Either.
Secret movies.
I'd like to.
These movies are secret.
I would like to talk about it with you, but apparently, the
Not
rule
right
is you
now.
don't bring up a movie prior if we're going to do it later. I kind of feel like that's an unwritten rule on the show.
I mean, I brought up Time Bandits like 2 episodes before it was my turn. And that's partly why I chose Time Bandits, because I kind of randomly brought it up in the show. And I was like, oh, yeah, Time Bandits.
Okay, well, I'm going to consider that notion.
You consider that notion.
I went back and watched Days of Future Past, and, this one got a lot of love when it came out. And I think people look back fondly at it quite well.
How's it hold up? I've been meaning to revisit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just the way the series fell apart. And then you think about Bryan Singer, too. It kind of bums you out a little bit. It's hard to ignore that fact for me. And I'm like, oh, man. I like the concept, though. They did take a risk. Or maybe they were trying to retcon an entire thing in a film. That's also debatable. So, in the end, it's got a great cast. A lot of people. I mean, Fassbender as Magneto was great casting to me. I thought it was outstanding. And I feel really bad for him because he came back for the 4th movie. And this is something I want to bring up. Was this guy, Simon Kinberg, got this opportunity he had never directed, but he had been a part of the writing of Last Stand back in 2006, which was panned.
Yeah.
So he's part of this world of people. Akiva Goldsmith is another guy. There's these writer, producer people who have their hands all over decades worth of films and properties that you love, that we love, that have done a really poor job again and again. And Kinberg was given his directorial debut to do Dark Phoenix, and he was so excited about it. And apparently they all loved him. Fassbender and everybody else in that cast loved him so much that they all came back for the 4th movie because of Simon Kinberg. And then it still ended up being shit. And it's just, yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, I guess, a little way, because I'm sure he cared enough. But studio interference and properties that magnitude have so many hands on them, it's really, really hard to even get your vision correct.
He also wrote Jumper, so he doesn't have a really great background.
I never saw Jumper.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I say
wow!
Yeah,
okay.
It's really bad. And I say this as a Hayden Christensen fan, but this is a movie that just abruptly
another
stops.
dagger.
He also the Fantastic Four, the one in 2015. That was him. He wrote that too. He wrote X-Men Apocalypse. This guy. Someone make him stop making movies. He's got 10 upcoming projects.
That's right, this is why I bring it up. I mean, get these fucking people out of here, please.
Yeah, honestly,
there's got to be in the real world, you get fired. It's like, you know what? You're not coming back here. You just didn't perform.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, hey, you wasted billions. Let's give more billions to you.
Send him to a different franchise to fuck it up.
Yeah, I'm like, is he in Scientology or something? Does he have like shit on everybody and they just keep forcing him? He's secretly, he looks like a nice guy. He's a blackmailer extreme. I don't know. It's very odd.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Of course, this is all allegedly, but very bizarre. Anyways, that's something I keep thinking about. In fact, I was thinking about a few ideas for the Patreon about some other ideas like that. Like, why is this fucking guy still involved in movies? That might be something I might work on. So
let's dox them and like put their addresses up and.
Let's, of course. Let's take it all the way. Of course, make sure that nothing is left for them, not even a home.
Ruin their lives
their family
over at X-Men Apocalypse.
Get at his son.
You joke, but some people do take things that seriously.
That's is really, really sad. I mean, like, I'm hating Obi-Wan, the TV show right now, but I can't imagine like chasing down the woman playing Reva on the internet and being mean to her. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Leave these people alone. You don't have to watch it.
Like what happened to Rose with Tran. That was awful in Last Jedi. Yeah. Terrible. So. But it does happen. But we're not going to do that. We're good people here. We like to think we're reasonable, well-mannered people to a certain extent. You get a few drinks in us, things could change. But, I mean, that could happen to anybody, really. So I don't think that makes us special. But either way, that's Quarantine View Picks. Of course, email the show if you prefer. It's called cinema9pod@protonmail.com. And I haven't had email in a while, guys. I feel like, again, we have no emails to offer. I'm sorry.
All right. Well.
Don't sound that bummed. Okay, that's good. Yeah, no emails, but if you want to email the show, cinema9pod@protonmail.com. Having said all that, of course, the Patreon we mentioned, not going to mention it again, but it does exist. And if you like us and want to take it to another level, it starts as low as $5. Okay. Inflation's up, guys. Sorry, $5. It's tough out there. All right. Well, Eric, it's time to get into your selection for this week. It's called The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, directed by Seth Gordon and starring luminaries such as Billy Mitchell, Steve Weeby, not Weeb, of course, and it's
Brian
a movie about
Kuh?
Brian
Brian Kuh?
The game referee legend himself, Walter Day.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
I'm acting like I knew all these people coming in.
Never heard of any of them.
No, definitely never heard of it. Now, Travis, last week you said you had never seen this, so you watched it for the first time. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd never seen it. I'm thinking, Eric, I do recall the night we watched Wicker Man together. I left. I watched Wicker Man with you guys, and then I went home.
Damn.
And,
The original or a remake?
Oh, the Ridge.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic movie.
Well, you love Nick Cage, so I don't think it'd be a ridiculous question.
This was before the remake even had come out. This was a ways back. This was when King of Kong was new, and I'd heard of King of Kong since then. 15 years of hearing about this movie. So finally watched it on the YouTube. That was nice to watch it for free.
Damn.
I wish I would have known that.
I should have texted you. Sorry.
Yeah,
You gotta start announcing that when we pick our movies. I think we should say where they're streaming.
Usually you're pretty good at that. I got to do a better job of that. This one, I went and Googled, hey, where is this streaming? And everyone they told me it was a lie, so I ended up renting it. But I hope the money went to them, hopefully. So
I was literally like a click away from clicking the rent button, and I was like, well, it's old. I'll check YouTube. Sure enough. But here's the question, though. So is it actually shot all on DV, or is that just YouTube? Because it looked like crap to me. Not crap.
Yeah,
it looked like 2006 home movie. And that's what it looked like.
Yeah,
okay,
pretty much.
A lot of it did. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably fair. Eric, you selected this film. Take us back to that first night at the apartment.
Yeah.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, I was hearing a lot about this on like early movie site, or early movie internet sites. Like, Ain't It Cool was always talking about it, and it premiered on Sundance. So like, video game documentary is getting this type of prestige. I'm there, but I waited for it to hit DVD. I rented it at Entertainment Tonight of Whitmore Lake, Michigan. And I
not Family Video.
There. No, not Family Video. Oh. And I watched the film.
What about that other shithole down the street?
Wasn't that Family Video? That was Family Video.
Is that Family Video? The one on the corner there by the little store, the convenience store?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I got it. But I think that was Entertainment Tonight. And I rented the film, and I've seen it a few times since. But it's just one of those that I keep sticking with me because it's focuses on a very, very specific subculture. And those types are always a lot of fun when it comes to a documentary. So, I was excited to take another look. It's been a while.
Yeah, I never saw this. I do recall a bit of a hullabaloo about it back in this time period, but I never saw it. So this is my first viewing as well. Me and Travis, two-timers, just like... was that the case last week when me and Eric were both first-timers?
Yeah, that's right. We're hitting on a trend here. Although I lied when I said I'd never heard of any of them, because I had heard of Billy Mitchell, because I remember like in 2018 or so when the controversy broke that he was accused of cheating and had some titles stripped from him that now he's sued them, and Guinness
I thought you were talking about he was in the Jeff Brancham lookalike contest.
Oh, I was going to make that joke. You beat me to it.
Yeah. I almost texted you guys.
He looks a whole hell of a lot like our host Eric's brother. I mean,
almost exactly
very similar. He looks
the
like
long-haired version of him. Yes,
the caveman smaller version, because Jeff's like a big dude. He's like this scrawnier caveman version with a more pronounced brow.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think you nailed it right there. But it definitely crossed my mind like 15 times, and especially some of the shots were like tight on him. Like, oh hey.
Even the way he talks, like the not like what he says, but the way like his delivery is even reminiscent of Jeff Branstrom. It was really funny.
And that's not a negative at all. I mean, it's just it's just a comparison. So
just a reality.
I don't have
like
any.
The dude is just like cut from the same cloth in some way.
It's just an observation that was undeniable to me. So I'm glad
we
you
all
felt the
know
same way.
So there you go.
The King of Con, A Fistful of Quarters on IMDb. I don't know the score. I'm going to take a guess myself. Seven? I mean, like, is it because it's a documentary? It just gets more prestige points too, which is strange sometimes. That does happen, regardless of what the documentary is. So I'm going to say this is a 7-2.
I'm going to say that The Kings of Overstatement is rated 6.5. that was my little name for it. These guys got a lot to say about how important their work is.
I'm pretty sure everyone who's seen this has good things to say. I'm going to say a 7.5.
All right.
Wow. Actual retail price is a fucking 8.
Whoa!
Oh my God! Wow,
that's one of the highest ranked that we've done.
An 8.
That's it really is, and we were all. I mean, Eric was somewhat close, but yeah, we were off.
An 8. Way off. I'm always off though. I'm terrible at this.
That's not true. You nailed the last one. I thought we were both within 0.1. So
I guess
give yourself some credit.
I like to focus on the negative parts of my life and ignore everything that's good.
Yeah, that's worked for me for so long. I agree. I just keep on doing it. So yeah, 8.0 is outstanding. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, it's a fucking 97 from the critics, 97 and a 93 from the audience. This movie is just lauded, apparently, by everyone.
And the sequel is coming, supposedly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a supposedly Seth Gordon is working on a scripted sequel to this. But we have to tell our story about our friend and patron Chad Gibbons and his experiments with this.
Yeah, we definitely should get to that eventually. I think.
Why not lead off with it? All right. Okay.
Yeah, let's hear it. I'm not even familiar with what the fuck you're talking about. I don't think so.
Well, if you've never seen the film, like this might be awkward because we haven't really unpacked the characters and the personalities.
Well, if you've never seen the film, you shouldn't be listening because, as always,
you would not be watching.
Yeah, this is a spoiler-heavy review, like we always do. Another thing we should probably do more often is let people know that, yes, we're going to spoil the fuck out of this film. Don't sit down and think that we're going to talk about this movie for 40 minutes and not divulge specific details, but it's happened.
Each episode is titled what the movie is. So, I mean, what are we going to do? Not talk about the movie? I mean, come on. People, we want to give, I assume that our listeners and viewers, they're smart people. They know what's up.
I assume that too, but, I mean, I've heard things. There's spoilers. yes, there is.
I would love to hear this story. I think it's apropos.
It's a hell of a story.
Yeah, well, of course, the film centers on the rivalry between, Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell, like the arcade champion of the world. And I guess this story took place a few years ago, according to Chad. Me and Chad would always talk about this movie all the time. I'm so surprised I never heard this true encounter before. But yeah, here, Chad, you remember from our American History X episode. He is a listener, a fan of the program. And
our patron.
Our single patron.
Thanks, Chad.
So get a load of this, man. So Chad says, I was in Indianapolis a few years back, and I saw this old guy who looked just like Walter Day, the referee from the movie. Sure enough, when I asked him who he was, it turned out to be him. He was overjoyed to be recognized, and after a brief chat, he told us he wanted us to meet someone. We followed him across the street, where he introduced us to Billy Mitchell and his wife. Billy said that he was in town for the premiere of his new musical, Arcade Fire, The Redemption of Billy Mitchell. Now, this is a stage play. He says, this is all true, by the way. He talked about how he was wronged by everyone and that this musical will set the record straight. It sounded too bizarre to be real, says Chad. So we told him we'd love to see it, as we were big enough fans of his. And this part wasn't true. I only knew him from the villain of the movie, he says. But we bought tickets, and when we showed up to the theater that evening, the entire building was completely empty. The manager approached us and asked us if we were Chad and Crystal. We said that we were, and the manager said that he didn't know how to explain this, but we were literally the only people who bought tickets. I told him that we certainly wanted to watch the musical, and we'd sit right up front and be the best audience members we could be. So we sat down wondering what would happen. The lights came on, and the real Billy Mitchell was standing on stage. who began to introduce the show to the audience, except no one was there but us. After this, Billy and his wife sat down next to us. Walter Day sat directly behind us, and the musical began. What followed was the most surreal 2 hours of my life, he goes on. We watched the actor dressed as Billy Mitchell sing songs about Donkey Kong and hot sauce and about how he was wronged in the documentary and that he was unfairly treated by everyone. In the musical, Steve Wiebe was portrayed as the evil villain. In fact, Steve Wiebe's wife was going to leave him because she loved Billy and didn't like that he played Donkey Kong so much. Throughout the entire musical, we couldn't stop laughing at the absurdity of the whole situation. We tried to hide our incredulity from Billy and Walter by cheering and booing loudly whenever it seemed appropriate. And after the climax of the musical, in which Donkey Kong machine at Fun Spot comes to life and calls Billy, quote unquote, his child, Billy seemed very grateful to us, but was perplexed as to why no one showed up to the premiere. I told him I couldn't fathom it. Then he asked us if he wanted to buy any hot sauce. I said sure, but didn't have any cash on me, so that part didn't work out. Crystal and I laugh about it to this day, but unfortunately no one we tell the story to understands any of it. So I thought I'd at least share it here. Thanks for listening. Wow. Incredible true encounter.
He even included pictures of the real Billy Mitchell with the guy from that played him. And I just checked that there really is this play.
This exists. This happened.
This happened. And Chad is someone I would vouch for anything he'd say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course.
Empty
the most
house.
honest guy I can think of.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's bizarre. So funny.
What a story, man. That was like the highlight of this entire podcast to this day. What a story. So apropos for a movie. We'll never top that one, I don't think.
Sure.
We should have had him on just to tell the story.
Good God. Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
wow.
So funny.
I got the gist of it, though. That was quite well told, Eric. Good job. And he relayed the story quite clearly. Wow. Okay, well, let's do on that for a minute. And, of course, take a look at some of the critical reviews, which, of course, 97% from the critics. It's going to be tough to find a negative review, isn't it? Well, here's one. Oh, and I love Ann Hornaday from the Washington Post. I'm not surprised, though, that she's the one who's writing a negative review, because I would imagine that Ann Hornaday has never even watched someone play a video game, let alone played a video game. Is there anything more tiresome than watching people play video games? Oh, my God, I nailed it. And I didn't even look at it yet. I swear to God. That's funny. And I don't even believe in God, but so whatever you would think I swear to. Seth Gordon's documentary, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, answers that question with a decisive yes, watching a movie about people playing video games. Wow. Okay, well, she doesn't like it. But there's so many red, juicy tomatoes for this one, including Bill Goodykoots. Wonderful, hilarious documentary, period.
Okay.
Well, all right. Well, that was Dessin-esque in its concision.
Yeah, Goodykoots got a little Dessin in him. Who would have thought? That's fun. Looking for Dessin Thompson. Always searching for Dessin. Richard Roper said, one of the most fascinating films of the year, and it deserves an Oscar nomination for Best Documentary.
Wow. It didn't get that, did it?
No.
Holy cow. His buddy Roger Ebert was still around then. A documentary that is beyond strange. 3 out of 4 stars.
He also said, who would have guessed that a documentary about gamers obsessed with scoring a world record at Donkey Kong would not only be roaringly funny, but serve as a metaphor for the decline of Western civilization?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like...
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Peter Travers. I misread it. That was Peter Travers.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. That doesn't surprise me either, because I feel like a lot of critics and video games, usually critics are older people, at least at this time period, I would think, and just a disconnect from the video game realm, even though this was a retro video game focus for the film. Right. Good old Wesley Morris said, a hilarious and moving study of the obsessive competition between the all-time scoring leader on Donkey Kong, an odd Floridian, and a father of 2 who gets sucked into a world of mind-blowing passive aggressiveness. No Destin Thompson that I can find, guys. I'm so sorry.
We had Billy Goodykoots. That was nice.
Yeah, and he basically filled in for Destin. So, all right. So, what direction we go in next? I mean, the characters of this film, The fact that this film existed. I want to ask you guys this because it was on top of my mind. Was this film done in the expectation of the final product, or was it just pure luck that they had all this footage put together?
Do you know the story behind it, Eric?
Yeah. They filmed it as just a straight kind of look at gamers in general. So that's why we have Doris, the Qbert player, and some of these other characters, because they filmed it as just something like Chasing Ghosts, which is another kind of look at retro games, where they were going to focus on many different players in different video games and the best people at those, and they just kind of got lucky along the way while doing all of the filming and the documentary. They kind of found this rivalry, and they just kind of decided to turn this into the direction of the film. They turned the narrative into this kind of rivalry.
Wow, I got the different. I got a different feeling watching it. It made me think of I'm forgetting the name of that Brazilian documentary from last year that where like the old man went into the old folks' home, and it was like it was all very contrived, and because to me it all seemed like scripted. I just had a hard time. It did not feel. It didn't feel spontaneous to me. It felt like these were people playing characters, and I think that really is. Hey, Dan Plummer coming back. Hey, Dan. I think that in a lot of ways, Billy Mitchell is a character. Like he's projecting a character that he's probably not always acting like that when the cameras are off. But yeah, I'm surprised to hear that.
Let's talk about that fucking guy then. Let's talk about that fucking. I mean, what's up with this? You're right. When he walks in behind Steve Wiebe. When he shows up in the fun spot for that, he finally shows up. Everyone's waiting for him to show up that weekend. Steve Wiebe flew all the way down there from fucking Washington, state of Washington, the longest trips in the country. And then he just kind of eerily is not identifying him. He's not even acknowledging that Steve's there playing the game. He just kind of lurks behind and keeps moving with his wife while he's trying to show her things and pointing. The whole time, he's just trying to make this presence felt. It's fucking bizarre, man. And that's where, like, the documentary feel versus what was contrived and who's playing a character and what is made up and what we're seeing as an actual spontaneous, natural thing happening in this film it's complex and it's confusing. Like, did they go back and take video of Steve Wiebe after the fact, or did they latch onto him at a certain point, like, oh, this guy's good, and so we should go get some B-roll of him at home playing the game, etc. I have a lot of questions about how the film came about, despite what you just told me, Eric.
Yeah, you're circling around the truth. And then when this is the first documentary we're doing on the show, so it's difficult to attack it in a lot of ways because you have the whole lying by omission theory when it comes to documentaries, because there's so much of this that is staged, but there's a lot of it that is absolutely real. But there's also just stuff they're not showing you, like the fact that Steve and Billy were very friendly, and that's not the first time they saw each other at that tournament. Like they were hanging out in friendly, and that just happens to have been like a couple of days, like later that night when he came back, and it's like, oh, hey, Billy,
that's
and it
bogus.
seems like he's ignoring him, but like,
oh, but really they've just seen each other.
They really did have to
bogus.
kind of frame a story and make the documentary a little interesting.
Yeah,
but
that is just
there's a lot of that. And like all the stuff when like he's calling him like, hey, I'm coming here. Are you going to be there? He did that already, and they had to like go back and like, reenact some of this stuff.
And that comes across to me. Like it felt like that to me. It did not feel like an authentic documentary to me. Which
I take it seriously. A documentary means truth to me. That's how I see a documentary.
And this doesn't play like that. I mean, it plays like it plays like fucking The Mighty Wind. It plays
mockumentary.
It plays like a Christopher Guest movie. And I kept on thinking of Christopher Guest movies as I was watching this, in particular because when I watch a Christopher Guest movie, I don't feel bad to laugh at the characters because that's the intention. With these people, I'm like making notes like, what is it? I got one note that Brian Koo is pathetic. I don't know this man. He could be a very good person. He could be a great person, but he was like, this is not a good light for you, sir. Or I mean, like it just, or I mean, like I don't know what, like there's just like it's like they're pitiable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the lackey for Billy, and you look at him and you're like, dude, is this guy serious or what he's doing right now? We love you too, Dan. I mean, he's on the phone, and like those phone calls or the payphone where the camera's far away while he's on the payphone, and it sounds like you're getting the direct audio of that call. It's what the fuck is going on there? Like, is that like I actually believe that he would have been like that. I believe that the cult of Billy Mitchell seemed like it was quite real to me. Because of the way Walter acted. Is Walter Day? That's the other thing too. Is he really a part of it, or did he start to feel bad about how Steve was being treated later on because he was such a part of the cult of Billy Mitchell, even though he's supposed to be an independent referee? I got a lot of questions about that.
There's so much if you go down the rabbit hole. Like, there's the whole thing about like the possible mod board being in Steve's machine, and then like that dorky dude with the glasses getting all pissed. But that was like the dorky dude, not Schiltz, but it was literally that. Remember that scene where the guy had to like sit there and watch the tapes all day long, and he's like, I don't know, this seems fishy. That was literally his board that he sold to Schiltz, and then Schiltz gave to like Weeby. Like,
so
it's
more
all
bullshit,
interconnected, and it's there's. And that, I mean, that is what's interesting, like the sycophantic nature of all these people that are relying on other people for like their own success and all this sort of stuff. It's interesting, but yeah, when you dig into it, there's a lot of toying around with the story, but that doesn't make it unenjoyable. You don't have to read into any of this stuff.
No, you don't. I mean, and you know, you can take it at face value and just be entertained by it. But I agree with Mike that when I see documentary, my expectations are shifted. I expect a semblance or an attempt towards not objectivity, but you know, just truth at least, or some or a
no
truth.
Acting, if they're acting, it's obvious because you know they're a nefarious person.
Yeah, and
like
to
they're
me,
covering something up.
This highlights Peter Travers's comment about the decline of Western civilization. Like what these people do with the teensiest bit of what they think is celebrity, with just the most marginal sliver of what they believe to be importance or power. It's just like, it makes me like, it's not. I did not laugh at this movie that much. I'm just like, these people make me fucking ill.
Damn.
I didn't laugh at all. Like I watched though with like my mouth agape a lot, but I didn't really laugh that much because I thought it to be super entertaining. Like I didn't want the movie to end, and I wanted more and more and more, and I kept wanting to find out what was happening. But I agree with Travis. I wasn't like, because like Billy Mitchell's like this. Yeah. I'm all by myself watching this film too, and frankly, sometimes I laugh a lot less. There's just something about being with other people. If something's funny, I'll probably laugh a bit more because it's a communal experience. But I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is, you know, like I'm having a lot of what the fucks in my mind with this guy and his hot sauce and, you know, his endless attempt to be so obstinate, which seems real to me. And if I find out that that's like a hoax now, that I got to tell you, that really bums me out. If like there's more connections between him and Steve and their friends, that bothers me now, and it kind of ruins a fair amount of the film for me. And I think right now, as I'm
it does suck to hear that. But I mean, there was a legitimate rivalry. I mean, there was some playfulness there on the director's part, but yeah, it was a legit rivalry. I mean, fuck. One other thing they didn't say is that literally there was another guy who just beat Billy's record from '82 before Steve beat it. Like they just tossed that out. So Steve essentially beat this other guy's record that he got after '82. Like all that sort of stuff.
You know what sucks? That's what, you know what sucks about it too, it makes it worse, is that they go such a deep dive of Steve Weeby's life and the pain he suffered, and that seemed authentic. And if we find out that there's not as hardcore of a rivalry and this wasn't as big a deal to him, that actually, I'm just realizing that now, pisses me off even more, because all these failed attempts in the life of Steve Weeby, whether it was the pitch, the night he couldn't pitch the big game because his dad wore his arm out, or all these things, like that makes it that much worse and makes this repeatable viewings like almost non-existent to me.
I did make the note crying over Donkey Kong,
crying over Donkey Kong, and you're right.
Tears?
Like to anyone watching this, and I remember the first time I saw it, I was inspired by just this regular guy like me who, didn't really have his day in the sun as far as I was concerned, in my dumb self in my 20s. So to think that there's any kind of diffusion there or tomfoolery, it is kind of disingenuous to somebody watching this for inspiration. It is kind of a dick move.
And to be honest, like getting back to my earlier point about how I don't like trash talk, like I'm not a competitive person. Like if there's a couple games, like if I'm playing darts and I'm doing really bad, I get mad at myself, but like, just cause I'm like, I know I could do better and it just like annoys me that I'm, that I'm not, but like but for the most part, like I don't like this self-aggrandizing and like the shit talking, the taking yourself so seriously and feeling so threatened over a game. Like, like this is some defining part of your person. Like, I just can't relate to any of that. And I look down on it. So like, so it's like the movie for me, like if it's real or if it's not real, I'm kind of annoyed.
I'm actually going to give the credit to the movie. I can't believe this, and I'm going to admit this because it's the truth. The movie actually, when Billy would say certain things about how if like you're not, he had so many lines. I wish I had written more of them down about if you're not doing something with your life or like you're not achieving the ultimate, then what are you really doing?
My favorite is, if not to interject, but a burning passion to never settle for what I have in my business, in my family. Like, well, that fucking sucks for you, dude.
Yes. There's several lines like that, and I think that's actually the real him, though. Do we think that's acting, or is this Billy Mitchell? Because look at Chad's story he told us.
Look at Chad's story. I do think that's him. 2 points. I'll try to go quickly. One,
hurry up.
We have a. Well, yeah, I will. One, I wasn't laughing as much on this viewing because I'm 41. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are obviously on the spectrum. So to laugh at behavior like this does not seem right to me. I mean, it's not that it's wrong. It's just it's not as openly something to take advantage of for humor.
Yeah, I mean, Weeby's own mother says that she thinks he's on the spectrum.
Yeah, right. So it's easy to look at Brian Koo and all these dorks and losers to be so analytical about these video games and just be like, these fucking losers are so lame. This is hilarious.
I don't want to make any assumptions about other people, too, because I think that's an easy trope sometimes that gets applied to people in that world.
Yeah.
But Steve Weeby, I'm with you. But the other one, I don't want to be so quick to judge either.
That's right. And two, I mean, when it comes to Billy Mitchell, this is textbook insecurity. This is a grown adult, probably in his late 30s, and that's clearly all it is. And to be honest with you, I struggle with insecurity all my life till this day. And I don't know if you guys have ever had like a real rivalry like in your lives. I have. And a lot of times I used to feel like Billy Mitchell. Like if someone would mention, I was like, remember Sweet and Lowdown where Sean Penn would like pass out anytime somebody mentioned Django Reinhardt's name because he was so envious of him. I've had many moments in my life where certain people would get brought up and I couldn't think straight. I wouldn't talk about them. I would not say their name out loud. I would shut down. You see Billy Mitchell doing this multiple times during this movie at the table with Steve Sanders. I'm not familiar with the situation. He won't even say Steve's name. And that comes from a huge sense of insecurity and textbook narcissism. I mean, it's a clear and cut case.
So I kind of feel sorry for him and I'm kind of laughing at him. That's like a terrible combination for me.
Yeah, but what about all these people that are upholding the Billy Mitchell image? I mean, why? How did they get? Are these people?
Again,
I mean, we're talking about Billy Mitchell.
Sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
To answer your questions, again, it's like that little bit of self-importance. I mean, they're praising what's the referee guy's name again? Walter Day.
Walter Day.
They're praising Day about how he makes this thing go on, but like, who is he without that? He's got the little shirt. He, every now and then a camera crew shows up in his place of business. Like he clearly loves having this reputation. It's
that changed though. Because remember the scenery with him on that winter's day or whatever, that cold day, he's in the car playing his songs on the acoustic. He's talking about like, why do I keep doing this? And like so he also showed a side of himself, which I don't know why they included that necessarily. Maybe it was just to give us another angle of Walter Day, the true nature of like, boy, why do I really do this? Because he originally in the beginning of the film, it's played to the audience that Walter Day does this not only because he believes that there should be an independent analysis of this world so that we can have an official title holder of all the games, etc. And there's all these different people who have different records for Joust and Missile Command and all shit.
His business on his machines.
Yeah,
like, it's all about him.
Yeah, right. That's a great point too. But he tries to sell it in the early part of the film as, I enlighten these people. He starts talking about transcendental meditation and how through that he so strongly believes that he's actually allowing these people to become greater versions of themselves by trying to achieve these higher heights because they get to be officially documented by him. It's like, boy, you have this smooth, like, oh, I'm such a sweet little guy exterior, but I'm not buying it. But in the end, like the whole thing you said about celebrity and the whole thing about Billy Mitchell's, I missed this. This is what I wanted to say. I'm sorry. I missed the point about how the truth of what I actually wanted to reveal to you guys earlier was that Billy Mitchell's passion and dedication to this record actually started having me for a few minutes on my mind be like, gosh, what have I done with my life? Oh my God. What? Because there was something, he had a line about there's nothing worse than never meeting your potential or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. And it actually had me thinking for a few minutes about what things could I have done? Is it wrong to think that I'm okay not meeting my complete potential? Is it okay to just kind of have a content lifestyle? I got to admit, he hit me hard for a few minutes, which shocked me. And I'm not proud of it, but it's the truth.
But that makes me think of, and I'm not a parent, so I don't mean to judge too harshly here, but the whole scene where Steve Wiebe is recording his game and his son has a poopy butt and he needs his dad to come and put his fucking video game down and come wipe his butt. And that's hundreds of thousands of points that take place. So it's over 200,000 points that take place between his dad telling him, hey dad, I need help. I'm a fucking infant and I need your help. And him being just hang on. I'm doing something really important. And it's oh man, come on, dude.
He admitted he wasn't proud of it, I guess, but whatever. Yeah, I see your point. So.
Yeah. His daughter also in the car, you'll remember, is subtly telling his her dad.
Oh yeah, that was a great line.
There's a daughter. I missed that.
Yeah. In the minivan trip before he flies out to Florida, she said something really poignant about a lot of these people seem very unhappy. Or something
and there's this weird stuff his trip was bankrolled by his rich friend. What the fuck's going on here?
The $10,000 bounty to beat the record. What the? How do we know that's true though? Now, I don't even know what's true anymore. This whole movie review is unfolding before me and you right now with the question of what is real, what isn't. Honestly, I'm baffled.
It's a film crew with a budget. It's going to be their movie doesn't work if they don't have their two leads interact with one another. The friend with the $10,000 stake is probably the fucking executive producer of The King of Kong.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that might be the case. Kill screen coming up.
Seth Gordon, I don't know. Horrible Bosses was okay, but his track record is not out of sight.
He's a regular. Oh, he's not a documentarian. Oh boy,
no.
He's a regular.
But yeah, he would go to Fun Spot. He saw this world, so he saw the potential for a documentary about this subculture of people. And but you're right, dude. Especially when it comes to these characters, and they're talking. Yeah, they've been talking about turning this into a movie for years. Just film it, make it a narrative version. But
you don't need to.
How the fuck you duplicate Billy Mitchell? No. Regardless if he's full of shit, this is a genuine human emotion from these real people. It never works. I was researching documentaries that have been turned into movies. It never worked. Dogtown and Z-Boys is fucking fantastic, and Lords of Dogtown was whatever. Marwin Call is probably my favorite documentary, and Welcome to Marwin is trash. Grey Garden, it never works. When you have people and these types of characters that are just so compelling, the realness of the situation is what makes it so remarkable. So yeah, to hear that there was some tomfoolery here does suck for sure.
That's what makes documentaries so compelling. You're right, because and that's why people, they're wrong. They watch reality TV because they think that's real. It's not real at all. But documentaries actually are stories of real human beings, supposedly. And you think, wow, that really happened, and depending on how hardcore, how compelling, how passionate the story is, or how unique that story is, you're like, wow, that can never be replicated in a dramatic form, because nothing tops reality when it's truly real.
But like, how real is it? Of course, because we're talking about there's so much footage that ends up on the editing room floor, right? That there's some narrative that has to be crafted. It makes me think of when I was in grad school, taking all my history courses and stuff. One of the things that we talked a lot about was that there's no capital T truth, because even if you have this wonderfully sourced and wonderfully written historical assessment of all these different sources or something, that author had to cherry pick and choose what to put in, what not to put in, and like create some sort of narrative to make it manageable, so they had some sort of story and some sort of arc to follow. And that's true for any documentary. So it makes perfect sense for a documentary to be on our show, because I mean, this is still like a degree of fiction. There is no reality when it comes to I don't think we should go to documentary expecting reality. That said, as we kind of started this off, you do kind of, or at least I expect a degree of veracity, like some sort of act, like the whole, like if you're going to present to me that this guy walked in and was a dick to this person, and then I learned that, in fact, they'd spent the whole fucking day together and it made no sense for him to greet him. Like that just, it feels like you could have told this story in a way that was still interesting, that didn't involve quite so much bending the truth. The
major manipulation.
Right. Lemmings never leapt off any fucking cliff. There was a Disney documentary where they literally herded lemmings off a cliff and created an entire fictional biological behavior that some people still believe is real. And
I loved that game though when I was a kid.
And this movie is it's people pushing lemmings off a cliff.
It really is, and it goes way back. When I was in college, in my film class, we watched fucking Nanook of the North.
Yeah,
that's 1920. One. All bullshit. Entirely fabricated narrative of a Eskimo, quote unquote, daily life. All bullshit. All just
completely fabricated.
Yeah, completely staged. So, yeah, what do? You got to make it entertaining, or else you're watching someone flip burgers or be at work, like your students were saying.
Well, but that said, like you take March of the Penguins, say, which like there you have all this narrative trying to like instill this drama and instill these feelings in you, and who knows, there's multiple shots of like 20 penguins playing one penguin, like it's all completely bullshit, and so trying to create some specific story about like there's this one egg that's et cetera, but at the same time there is this reality about what penguins go through in these climbs, right? There is like it's completely manufactured, but there is some truth there, and I guess there's truth here too, as we got with Chad's Billy Mitchell story, but it just feels, I don't know, it feels a little flimsy.
Yeah, well, this does, I guess I'll give this credit because it opens up a discussion about what objective truth really is and the philosophy of that, and the whole point earlier about the obsessiveness of celebrity culture. This documentary came out right around when the Kardashians started to blow up too, which is, I think, an interesting comp, and because you got the mainstream massive version of a family that exploited opportunities to become a reality empire, and which is very much based on vanity and celebrity and all this surface material shit. And then you got these people who are also very involved with their materialism, which is a fucking game. I mean, the whole thing is based around a material item. And Steve Wiebe he's not presented to me in this movie, nor do I believe that he's a nefarious guy or that he could put on an act. Like, that seemed genuine, and who he is and his family. I buy all that, but everybody else outside of that is suspect to me and causes confusion now. And I guess I even wonder, like, maybe I need to watch this again now and look at it. I need to dive. I guess my question for you guys is, does it matter what the truth is about some of these relationships and some of the revelations about Billy Mitchell? Like we said, the 2018 revelations about him cheating and all that jazz. Now, does it need an update with like kind of a addendum to this documentary? Not a dramatic retelling, but an actual documentary follow-up like a half-hour show about it, or is this so much bullshit that's like, fuck it, who cares?
There's obviously a Cobra Kai version of this story that could be told with Billy Mitchell as the hero, because like the whole thing is that you want to root for the underdog, and Billy Mitchell is presented in this movie as like the guy who's got it all figured out when it comes to this video game, and Steve Wiebe is the guy on the outside. So now it's like, coming this summer sends us the message, a documentary on the documentary. That is meta, but that would be good. Yeah, I would watch that.
Yeah, and a critic made a point earlier about how tedious it is to watch people play video games if you're not actually playing it yourself. And the film is kind of like watching a video game. So if you take it by that rationale, even when you're watching someone play Mario and they get the flute and they skip to another world, or they get the warp zone, skip to another world, that's all part of the game, man. So there's cheating in video games. You can put the Game Genie on, and
I never used that thing,
and kind of still have
Neither did
fun.
I.
So it really doesn't matter. I guess it's just really about the entertainment here. But we are getting unique perspectives and personalities of this world that it's hard to get anywhere else.
Yeah, there's something very empty about an obsession to find a tiniest little piece of acknowledgement from others in the world, especially when you're a mature adult. Maybe I'll even give you a pass a little bit in the 30s, but by the time you're 40, you get no more passes from me at all, just because I made it that far and I know what it's like now. So I can at least comment on that and understand it from my own individual circumstance. I got beef with that. There's just no long-term substance or validity or meaningfulness to that type of obsession.
How about the scene where they put like plexiglass in front of Steve Wiebe and gave him a Sharpie and had him like draw out like he was fucking Goodwill Hunting? Like his whole plan. That was so cringy.
Beautiful mind tactics.
Why are they doing this? Yeah, I didn't even know why they were doing it at all.
It's controversial too. Like there's no way you're going to go to a fun spot and start drawing on the screen. You'd straight up get kicked out.
I've been to Hollywood, Florida, and it was like around 2002. I really wish that I had gone to the fun spot.
Oh, dude! Hey, guys! I can't help but not bring it up. Bully. That's where the murder happened in the movie Bully, Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, man,
okay.
I went to go watch that the other day, and it wasn't streaming anywhere. So,
crap!
But I was ready. Okay. I was ready to finally fucking pull the trigger and watch Bully.
Wow! Damn it! I'm sorry, Russell.
Someday I'll do it,
Russell. But Mike, you talk about validation, and you talk about these guys being a little bit too old for this type of petty nonsense. But the story is about validation. Like, they take the time to talk about Steve Wiebe. Granted, they go back and are like, hey, let's dig into this a little bit more to have a story here. But you'll notice even when like he kind of like wins the competition, such as it is, it's important to Steve to have his name spelled right for like those 8 people that are sitting there. He wants the guy to literally start over again before he gives him this accolade. So as humble and as this guy is, he's still craving that.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say it could have been edited to be. Like anybody who miscorrected my name for the first time knowing me, I might be like, oh, it's actually this. But I'm like, hey, I got to have it that way. You know what I mean? Coming this summer also says, I'd like to see a doc on other game communities like WoW or League of Legends and those crazies. So I'm surprised those don't exist, actually. So
what are these games? I stopped playing video games like 20 years ago.
WoW? That's the other thing about this movie is that this says even more to me because this is a game that is so fucking old. Donkey Kong, these games are decades old. It shows that they're hung up in the past, too. There's no...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No progression.
Billy Mitchell is still like he's been riding on for 15 years on the fame that came with being on this Time magazine or Life magazine, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Like these guys are very much, they're locked in the past in a big way.
I think that's an important piece of information.
But I also like the fact that they talk about why these games stand the test of time, man. If you've ever played fucking Donkey Kong, it's impossible to get past that 3rd level with the elevators. This was all hand-eye coordination, very specific moves. It's not like today you're wandering around looking for some stupid like key or some bullshit forever.
But it's also
it's a skill set.
Yeah, but it's memorization. Like it's not like so long as you learn the code, as long as you learn what to do when. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like it's memorization basically, which I don't know if that's a skill necessarily.
It's not problem solving.
Well, that's not true. I guess like you memorize how to play guitar or whatever. Like
it's a simpler skill.
I don't know. There's something. I mean, like
catch a wild fireball, you could be fucked. Like a wild barrel.
This is true. It's a construction site. I never realized that. I mean, I saw the barrels and ladders and shit, but I never put two and two together. Like, it's a construction site.
I thought it was an erector set, just put together as a video game. But
it was a level. I thought it was a level.
All right. Well, I think we've done a fine job. Coming this summer says waiting for the champion of Pong. Doc. Yeah, let's go back even farther to the beginning. When there was different video games. Most old games were coded with patterns, as Travis said. That's
I mean, like, once you learn how to get through the underwater glowing electric coral with your turtle, you're set for life on playing that particular level.
It's not a choose your own adventure situation in those games. Not today's games they could have many different outcomes, and it's
right. Unpredictability, I think, is like that. Again, I'm not a gamer here, but I think that shows like true skill is if you can. And surmount the unpredictable when the game throws it at you.
I think that's a completely fair point. Yeah.
How many copies of Mr. Awesome's Guide to Girls you think were sold on VHS?
By Roy Awesome.
Yeah. Remember how they were all pissed at him too? They didn't even really bother explaining why they were.
They never
mad at him. Like
as if there's a manufactured rivalry, perhaps. Manufactured rivalry.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Thanks coming this summer.
Thanks coming this summer. All right. Let's close it out. Let's do it. Let's do it. Find out if this one holds up or not.
Who's kicking things off?
Anybody?
Who's going first?
I'll go first.
All right, great. There we go.
So I think that this is I totally get the hype for this movie. I can see why so many people were thrilled when it came out, why it got the viewership that it got, and why people have talked about it for over 15 years. Like I've heard about it, I totally get it, but I also feel like it's like, since I didn't see it when it came out in 2007 or so, whenever it was, that I approaching it fresh 15 years later with some heightened expectations, maybe. I mostly watching that just kind of like these winners are losers. These winners are real losers. Like they're just, but then I felt bad for judging them, and I feel bad judging them on the podcast now. I don't know these people. Like I'm seeing like these very carefully crafted versions of them. They could be nothing like this, but again, Chad's story about Billy Mitchell does suggest something for sure. But still, like I don't like laughing at people, and I don't like watching stuff that makes me like feel like I'm better than people, which I think is basically what reality television is. I think that most people I know, not to speak of all people who like reality television, but I think the thrill in reality television is this indulgent feeling that you are superior to these people. Look, oh, they're so rich, yet they're so stupid, or whatever. And I think that there's a lot of that going on with this movie. I think that we're intended to kind of laugh at them. So I feel I feel a little chumpatized. I feel like maybe I'm, I don't know. I'm a bit of a stick in the mud. I'm not the funnest guy in the world, but this movie, I didn't laugh at it. I kind of, the more I learn about how disingenuous it was, the less invested I am in it. But honestly, I also just kind of found it. I mean, towards the end, I was like, when it actually ended, I looked up from my phone and went, "Oh, it's over," because I was playing a game on my phone. Speaking of playing games, so I mean, yeah, for me, it didn't really hold up. If I had seen it before, I think that I would have gotten maybe. I think I would appreciate it, in a different way. But for me, it just didn't do it for me. So I'm glad.
That's an interesting point.
I'm glad you brought it on. I probably, I've been meaning to watch it. I otherwise wouldn't have, but it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is an interesting point to think about. Man, what if we could have watched like this unfold from when I first came out and then like experienced everything else that's ancillary to it in real time later on? It's an interesting thing that we can never go back and do. And I can't do it either.
Nope.
The film was entertaining enough. It was actually quite entertaining. I watched it completely and truly, no fast forwarding whatsoever. And because with the documentary, I'm usually, if it's a documentary that's new to me, it'd be very, very unlikely that I would fast forward that because there's not tropes usually, although there are documentary tropes, but it's less likely. And supposedly it's supposed to be organic. So I would be like, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen here if it's interesting at all. And the movie was, and the soundtrack for documentary. You got The Cure. You got some quality songs on there too that kind of were pick me ups. Like, oh, I love this song. And
Weeby's a decent drummer.
that was fucking incredible.
That was cool.
That is a shit kids toy set, and I don't think that was false audio at all. I was like, wow, that is amazing. I was genuinely like blown away by that. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's my favorite part of the movie, actually. I'm glad I brought it up.
God damn, that is amazing. Holy shit. Those things are terrible to play on.
That was cool.
But I can't remove the information now that has been given to me during this episode. So I'm kind of absorbing it in real time and thinking, boy, that's kind of disappointing to find out that maybe they were cooler. They weren't as head-to-head and enraged and bitter conflict for this game. And some of the scores here from the critics and the fans are like, really? It's enjoyable and it was entertaining, but 97% from the critics is like, holy shit. But it does expose things that all of us have brought up about the celebrity and about vanity and a desperate need to cling to something meaningful, to have a meaning to your life besides just living it. You know, there's some really interesting philosophical nuggets that can be broken down from this film. So that does have merit, regardless of the validity of the story or not. But it is a documentary, and that does bother me. I'm truly torn. I really am, because I was entertained, but now I'm pissed. But there's still stuff to break down within it to be like, hey, wow, this is interesting. And these guys being who they are or not does bother me enough that I think I'm going to go with the situation where it's like, I think you should watch it, but I would advise you to be aware of the story after the fact. If you don't want to have it spoiled, read all about it afterwards, and then you might go back and be like, I'm never going to watch that again. So it's weird. It's like it's entertaining, but if you don't want to have it spoiled, you're going to have to go into it without actually knowing all the details that surround it beyond the movie.
And they wouldn't be listening now,
right.
into this podcast to be able to take your advice.
So if you've seen it and you're aware of all the bullshit around it and you still love it, I don't know how you could say that. I think I'm going to say it doesn't hold up. I'm sorry. It doesn't hold up. That's a tough call.
You shit that out. It was so hard.
Like, it was. I guess I should have read more about it after, before we went on the air. I like to go in fresh, but I do like to do research on stuff after I watch a film too. So that's my bad, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's tough. I mean, you take the film just on its own merit. You get a completely different viewpoint about it. I've seen it a few times. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times, and I always like getting into this esoteric world. Just makes me happy thinking about when I used to have my Atari 2600 and I played fucking Combat, Keystone Capers, and Gorf every day, and just how challenging it was. I like the structure of the movie. I like the fact that they set up the villain first, and they do it really well. We got this like totally egotistical dipshit, but he's not necessarily like a bad person. He's just like an arrogant businessman, super insecure. And all the best villains, like in all movies, have like this level of complexity. It's just interesting the way they set it up, such as it is. They had to get a story out of it. And I like what they came up with, man. If you like, movies that offer you people that can teach you a little bit about humility and success. I mean, the big theme about the movie for me is success. What that means to other people, and more importantly to oneself. Like, what makes you a success? Is it having a family? Is it being good at something? Is it having been good at something and now like you're still good at it? These are questions I think about often, and the movie reminds me about it. in a way that still makes me laugh, man. It fizzles out a bit at the end. Like, you can totally tell, like, they, like, tagged that, like, last thing on at the very end, like, big credit saying, but, it's so cheesy and, like, so, like, amateur hour. But for what it is, man, I have fun with the movie. I'll see it a few more times in my day. If you liked it, watch Chasing Ghosts, which explores it, and Man vs. Snake explores this subculture. Both of them have Walter Day in them. And I don't know, it's just a fun world for me. I think the documentary holds up. I have fun with it. It's different. So, yeah, I still dig it.
Okay.
All right. I feel bad that neither one of us liked it when neither one of us. Well, it's not so much we didn't like it necessarily. It's just that we said it didn't hold up when neither one of us had seen it before. I know that doesn't feel necessarily great, but I am glad to have watched it.
Just too many strings being pulled here. It's too confusing now. So, but it wasn't entertaining.
Strings.
There it is. The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Thanks for the commentary here. We got some good stuff from BS Plus. Good show, guys. Thanks, BS Plus.
BS Plus. Thank you.
Is that like Bullshit Plus, or is that something else? I'm curious.
Who is that?
Kind of
Decrease from the Black Regret?
Not even Helen of Troy got that much attention, though, right?
I fucking. Well, that was so fucking lame of a comment.
Oh my God.
It's always lame when, like, the lamest guy in the room, too, makes a Helen of Troy comment. It's like, you're so desperate to sound like you're intelligent by saying that, in my opinion.
You know, I know things about history.
Yeah, I know who Helen of Troy is. I've studied it. Yeah, it's like saying something about Cleopatra. You don't know dick.
One last dig at Billy.
Yes. Billy Mitchell, if you ever want to come on the show for an interview, we would love to have you. I'm going to put that out there right now. Open invite. You want to set the record straight? You want to be the version of yourself you present to the public? That's your call, but I'd like to
If
get
he
you
does,
on here.
if he does come on, we have to get your brother Jeff on as well, so we could do a side-by-side comparison.
Oh, we would do a surprise Jeff reveal and stun Billy suddenly. That's what would be fascinating.
Who is this man who looks like me, only more attractive?
Yeah, Jeff's definitely handsomer than he is. Okay, so I guess it's my turn now.
It is, I guess. You can pick one of the many movies that you've watched but not told us about in the past couple weeks. Nope, not gonna pick any of those. Nope.
I don't think have we done a sports movie?
I guess we're due. I was gonna pick Moneyball, but I ended up watching it without you guys.
Good, that's fine. I'd rather do this one then. I don't think we have done a sports movie. I know we've done 114 or so episodes, but we go back to 1992. Still in a room without a view.
Pink Up?
No, that's 97, I think.
96.
No, this is a movie that I always enjoyed growing up. I watched it a billion times, and I wonder how it looks today. I'm sure you guys have probably seen it, but if you haven't seen it, I'd be really surprised as well. So let's do 1992's White Men Can't Jump. Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes.
You know, I've had that one on my list off and on for a while, and I was
really?
But like, it's such a well-regarded classic. I know it's one of your favorite movies. I'm like, so it's probably going to hold up. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, this is one of your favorite movies. Am I wrong?
I really enjoy the film. Yeah. I do.
But I called it one of your favorite movies on the show before.
Yeah, I talked to when I talked about Wesley Snipes, you're right. That's true.
You were close. I think Ron Shelton did Tin Cup, Travis.
He did. Ron Shelton did a lot of sports movies. I actually was thinking of another sports movie instead of this one. Maybe I should have picked the other one now. Crap. So, is this going to be an easy call now? I don't know. Eric, you've definitely seen this movie, right?
I watched it a few months ago. I talked about it extensively on the program.
All right, well, fuck it. Then we'll just have a good time, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Unless you guys want me to change it. I can change it. I have the other one ready to go.
I already know I like the movie, but I'm happy to watch it and talk about it and continue to keep liking it.
Yeah, but this seems like so obvious now. I don't know. Kind of
feels like maybe I should.
Okay, that's what I think I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to go the other way.
I don't mean to talk you out of it. I think that more people will probably be into it. People like that movie, but do whatever you want, man. It's your pick.
What's your heart telling you, Mike?
Well, I wanted to do that movie, but I didn't know you guys were. I thought maybe it would be like, oh yeah, I don't watch that one as much or know it as well, but it's clearly not the case. So shit. My other option was I was thinking about going with Bull Durham, Kevin Costner, Ron Shelton movie from 1988. You've never seen that movie?
I've seen it once, probably
Yes.
in the 80s or early 90s.
We're doing it. Then let's do it then. Bull Durham.
Bull Durham.
Okay,
Bull
that would
Durham.
be more appropriate for this show. I appreciate you guys allowing me to adjust the pick. I had two ready to go. I was prepared at least, which is unusual. Okay, Bull Durham. Let's do it.
I mean,
1988.
I still hope, I do kind of hope we do White Man Can't Jump at some point, because I do think it's a really good movie, but that's also why I never picked it. Bull Durham, I think, it's a well-regarded film that will basically be new to me again, so.
Yay! You know, I haven't watched it in 10, 12 years either, so in
Tim
a way,
Robbins?
that's right. Tim Robbins, Kevin Costner. Ron Shelton's first feature with sports movies.
Another Ron Shelton movie. My God.
I'm pretty sure he's done Bull Durham, Major League,
Yeah.
White Man Can't Jump, and the Tin Cup. That's like his thing.
He
All
really
these sports
bounces
movies.
around from sport to sport.
Yeah, like he really couldn't branch out. Like he's never done anything else in his life but play sports and watch sports and talk
That
about
water
sports.
polo movie coming out.
Curling feature.
All right, so there it is. A little bit of curveball, an unusual conclusion. We're going to go with Bull Durham officially for the
Bull
record
Durham.
next week.
Lock it in.
Live, and I'm sure we can find that movie online. I wish I could tell you where it's streaming right now. We'd love to tell you those things. Like Travis said, we should tell you that more often. And
If you vamp for a second, I'll see if I can figure it out.
yeah, well, usually on our social media, you should be following us anyways, and you can keep in touch with us in between, where we'll post movie reviews on occasion on Instagram or the Twitter or whatever social media you prefer. But you can also find that out. We could post it for you after the fact. And the Patreon, too, is how you can connect with us directly. You could even message us directly on the Patreon if you're a patron. It's a lot of fun, and you will enjoy it.
It looks like it's on the red. Oh, it's on Tubi. Woo! It's on Tubi.
Tubi.
Yeah.
And
Tubi
Prime
comes
Video.
through again.
It's on Tubi.
There
It's
we
on
go.
Prime. It's on
Hell
Showtime.
yeah.
It's streaming quite a few places. Pluto, it looks like, as well. So should have no problem finding Bull Durham to watch.
Well, that's good news for all of us.
Great.
All right.
All right.
Free. All right, well, that's today's show. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. 5-star review, please. Can you pump up the show? Share with your friends. Try to grow a little bit. I think we got something fun here. We're done 100-plus episodes already. We got a groove growing. But if you have ideas for the show, you can email us, cinnamonipod@protonmail.com, or become a patron. Take it even farther and share your ideas. We'll listen to you a lot more if you're a patron, because that's what America's all about. Money buys you access. It's just the American way.
Money
So.
is everything.
All right, for Travis, he's Eric. I'm Michael. Thanks so much, everybody.
See ya.